Welcome to this new video where we're going to talk about Forza Horizon 6, since we have some new updates about the game that I absolutely wanted to share with you. These updates come from the IGN YouTube channel. They were able to interview the game's developers and got quite a few new details about the map, especially about the city. There is actually a lot of new information about Tokyo, which will be the main city in Forza Horizon 6 the way it was developed, but also quite a few new and interesting images, and above all, some very reassuring ones regarding the life on the map. Let me remind you that there was a short gameplay video released last week, which disappointed quite a few players. Because, very clearly, on the road, there were almost no NPCs, no pedestrians at all. Honestly, it really looked like a ghost town, even though Tokyo is supposed to be one of the most densely populated cities in the world. But now, we have some images that are actually quite reassuring, so I'm going to share all of that with you today. We also have some little details about new game modes and more. So, I hope this short video will interest you and keep you hyped for Horizon 6. And then, well, let's get started with today's news. About Forza Horizon 6. As I was saying, we'll start with some news about the development of Forza Horizon 6 and how the developers designed the map. The devs are going to explain that, actually, they've been thinking about Japan for Forza Horizon almost since the beginning of the Forza Horizon series. But Japan is so technically difficult to recreate in a game, especially because there are huge cities and also an extremely vertical landscape that up until Forza Horizon 6, the video game development technologies, as well as the power of the different generations of consoles, didn't allow them to recreate something faithful and satisfying enough for both developers and players. Because the devs know full well, and have for a long time, that for racing game fans and car enthusiasts, Japan is a special place, and they simply didn't want to present players with a game that would have all the cliches about Japan, but wouldn't go any further and wouldn't offer any real surprises. The developers also confirmed in this interview that the entire map was designed in a completely vertical way, and that this was really the first time it happened in a Forza Horizon game. Indeed, until now, there were areas that were lower or higher than others, but here, the progression on the map will really be vertical, meaning that in the south of the map, and the developers confirmed this in the interview, we'll have the coasts, beaches, and Tokyo, and the further north you go. This was also confirmed in the interview. The further you go up, you'll eventually reach the highest areas, which are the famous mountainous zones of the map. Unlike Horizon 5's mostly flat map with just one mountain in the northwest, this time we'll actually be climbing. This will happen through a system of plateaus. Actually, different plateaus at different altitudes, which will represent the different biomes of the game. I remind you that in Forza Horizon 6, there are 6 biomes. By the way, I'm showing you some new images of these different biomes that were published during this interview. We're obviously going to have the famous mountainous area, which will often be covered in snow. Below that is the high altitude zone, which also has many mountains. However, since the elevation is lower, the risk of snow is reduced, and we'll have landscapes that are a bit less rugged, with small villages and things like that. Below that, we'll have the low altitude zone, which will be the area where we'll find the famous bamboo forests, an area that will be much more forested with a lot more vegetation. Just below that is the plain zone. Well, you get the idea. These areas will have small villages, houses, and lots of countryside with crop fields. Below that is the coastal and city zone. And actually, we have quite a few interesting things to go over now about the city. The city will be Tokyo, and we've known for a while now that it will be 5 times bigger than the city in Forza Horizon 5, which was Guanajuato. And interestingly, the developers said this was the first time in Forza's history that the map development team was split in 2. One team for the 6 traditional biomes, and another team really dedicated to modeling the city. Whereas traditionally, on Forza Horizon 5, for example, there was only one team that worked a bit on everything. So this time, they wanted to do something so big and so detailed for Forza Horizon 6 that they literally doubled the size of the map team, so that the equivalent of the team that worked on the entire map of Forza Horizon 5 is now working exclusively on the city of Forza Horizon 6. So that promises a very detailed city, and it's the same. For the first time in a Forza Horizon, the developers considered this city as a full map in itself, made up of several different biomes. There will actually be 4 biomes in the city, 4 very distinct areas. So there will be the suburb area, which will be a residential zone with medium-sized houses, more or less close together, with varying amounts of vegetation, like gardens. The docks area, which will obviously, as you might expect, be closer to the coast. This will be the port area, let's say port and industrial, with lots of factories and also lots of areas with docks, with those famous multicolored cargo containers and a whole bunch of huge ships. Another area that's specifically industrial, so again, factories, parking lots, big stores. This will be an area that's actually separated from the rest of the city. It will be a kind of peninsula that you can reach by crossing the famous Rainbow Bridge, which is probably one of the most well-known bridges in Japan. And to finish the central area, the business district, which itself will be divided into two biomes. The first will be the dense zone. Really, huge modern buildings, you know, the kind you imagine when you think of Japan. With big screens on them, ultra bright, lit up by neon lights, and another area, which will be more focused on buildings, maybe a bit smaller in size, buildings more like hotels and banks. Really, like a map on its own, integrated into another map, which is the global map of Forza Horizon 6. Quite interestingly, the developer explained that this city in Forza Horizon 6 Tokyo would be much denser in terms of roads than what we had in Forza Horizon 5, Horizon 4, Horizon 3, that there would be a lot more roads in the city. Let me remind you that in total, in Forza Horizon 6, there will be more than 660 roads to discover. That's 100 more than in Forza Horizon 5, and that's largely due to this city, which will have a lot of alleys, a lot of ultra-narrow streets, and above all, a completely outdated street layout, different from those in Forza Horizon 5 and Horizon 4. We used to have streets that were, let's say, fairly rounded, cities that were, let's say, European style. They're not American cities either, but there are still a lot more right angles. That's why the developers explained that what's pretty cool is that the developers noticed that, naturally, when playing the game. On their side, they really changed the way they drove as soon as they got into the city, especially because the city encouraged players to drive slightly less powerful cars, Class C to B cars, cars that were a bit more reasonable and a bit easier to handle, rather than driving huge 1,500 horsepower monsters that are constantly burning out as soon as you take the slightest turn. Something quite interesting. We also have two new screenshots that I wanted to show you from Forza Horizon 6, which I find really cool for two reasons. The first is that in this one, you can clearly see that there is a lot more traffic than in the gameplay that was shown last week, where the devs explained that the traffic had been disabled to make the gameplay easier to record. Well, it seems like that's true, because here, you can clearly see more cars. And I would tend to say that you can clearly see more cars than in Forza Horizon 5 and Forza Horizon 4. It's better, but whether it's enough is up to you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. When we think of Tokyo, we picture a crowded city with traffic jams and lots of cars. Well, it shouldn't go that far in a racing game either. Otherwise, it's going to be really annoying to get stuck in traffic jams. Still, it's better now, clearly, but maybe it's still not enough. There you go. I'll let you judge in the comments. Another pretty interesting thing. They explained that they increased the number of areas in the city where you can see pedestrians. They explained that these pedestrians, just like in Forza Horizon 3 and 4, would always be behind things that make it impossible to run them over or hit them with your car, like barriers or concrete protections. But the number of these zones has been increased all over, especially throughout the city, to give the impression that there's real life, that there are actually people walking around and doing things in the city, which seems to me to be generally good news. And actually, overall, everything that was said in this video seems like good news to me. We wanted a map in Japan, we're going to get it. For years, we've been complaining about not having a map that's vertical enough. Well, now we're going to get one. For years, we've been complaining about not having a city. Well, now we're going to have one. And for years, we've been complaining about the low traffic and lack of life in the maps, and it looks like that's getting better. Well, that's it. We've covered today's little news. I hope you found the video interesting. If that's the case, as usual, don't hesitate to show your support. You can leave a like, subscribe for the next videos, leave a comment, follow me on Twitch for regular live streams, and use Prime to support my channel for free. It's always appreciated. See you tomorrow for the next video. Take care. Bye.